Hey, and welcome to. There's no need to do all the fun, the bitter batter. Obviously, subscribe, rate, review, say all these fantastic things. Subscribe to the Patreon where this full episode will be. If you're listening on YouTube or a podcasting app and you haven't subscribed to our Patreon, hit that episode description. There's a link to our Patreon where you can actually even buy this episode video on demand. You're only going to get 10 minutes of this goodness. And today's guest, haven't had him on in months. I can't tell you how nerve-wracking it was trying to figure out what questions to ask him because so much has happened. And then there's still the whole summer ahead. I was honestly overwhelmed. So I'm pretty sure I just put a bunch of bullshit in the questions. And, I may ask the questions. I may go left or right. We'll find out together. But the daily emails, the legend, busy man getting out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, telling them to subscribe to Daily Mail so they can read his articles. Give it up for Jack Gaughan. How are you, friend?
I'm okay. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. Yeah, very good. Very good. Very good now. I was said you were working on some stuff. So I had to wait patiently for a few months to have you back on. And with the ups and downs that has been this season, it was just all I want to do is ask him some questions.
Yeah.
I sent him a random DM asking about a player, and he gave me the answer. And I was like, that's why I'll message him about stuff because that's the obvious answer. But I don't want to hear that about this person. I want to have hope about the future of them. But Pep's gone. Maresca's here. We have so much to talk about. Let's start off with Pep. Let's get the Pep at part ahead of us, behind us. You have had a I don't want to say relationship with Pep that many haven't had, with the back and forth of the questionee to the questioner of a decade. I'm sure you have a fond memory or not so fond memory. Can you regale us a tale about Pep, an experience you had with him?
Yeah, he's quite a complicated guy. He's like you, as someone who watches the press conferences every week, you'll know how complicated he is. Really, really challenging. I've said it to a few people over the last few weeks. It's like privilege of a professional lifetime to have been able to sit across him for 10 years, well, nearly 10 years. I didn't do that much of the first. I did about half of the first season, on and off, because back then there was two of us in Manchester that sort of flipped between United and City. So I did quite a lot of Mourinho that year as well, which was sort of interesting to see the differences.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. It's not really sunk in that he's not going to be there in August, sort of thing. Sat talking to us, and yeah, there's been loads of moments over the years where, sort of you don't really get to know him. I think with Premier League managers these days, you see what you're allowed to see, basically. And Pep is not one of these managers that will take journalists out for dinner or coffee or whatever. Because he doesn't need anyone. Some people need us. Pep never did. So yeah, there's been some nice moments. There was one where there was I think he'd given me about a 5 or 6 minute answer a few years ago, and then someone went to ask the next question, and he went, "Oh, seriously? I've given a 5 or 6 minute answer. Look at Jack. Jack always asks the best questions." And he obviously didn't mean it, but he was just quite nice, sort of. So there's stuff like that, silly things. And then we said goodbye to him on Friday after the press conference. Yeah, just nice. And then he was out the door.
Just like that, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. Yeah, I'm with you. It does feel very weird, especially it's just instantly the Maresca stuff. And I will admit, I have been caught on many cameras saying on many mics how I don't want Maresca. And it's not necessarily Maresca anything that he's done as a manager. It's just the ruin that he leaves his previous club. and ruin obviously is extra, but Leicester City, he did great things for him, and he was like, no, I'm not going anywhere, and then just like in the middle of the night snuck out and went to Chelsea, and then Chelsea, but also Chelsea are chaotic. So the way that he left Chelsea, it wasn't the most smooth or
Mm,
respectful, but
mm.
you also have to be ready, get ready to be ready, and that's exactly what he did, and put himself in prime position to come to City. So it is one of those things. I don't like his method, but it does explain the madness.
Yeah, I think with the Leicester one, you can't turn Chelsea down, can you?
No.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's been a few managers over the last few years really that have kind of left decent jobs to go to Chelsea because there are not many opportunities. You don't get many opportunities to go to a top six club in the Premier League, and Chelsea are an absolute behemoth, have loads of money, should be able to give you the tools to succeed. I suppose Maresca would say that he did succeed. He won the Conference League and the Club World Cup. I mean, the Club World Cup triumph was incredible, really, by
Yeah.
beating PSG and
Yeah.
and I think his stock has risen. Well, his stock has definitely risen since he's left because Chelsea have been an absolute basket case since with Rossini and then McFarlane. And yeah, his resignation, clearly it's not all come out, I don't think. Clearly there were more things going on behind the scenes at Chelsea that have yet to come out, which I think probably will in the fullness of time. I know he wanted a new contract. Chelsea didn't, to my knowledge, Chelsea didn't sort of have that conversation with him, and then things got possibly worse behind the scenes. And then he resigned, and I think they probably wanted him to stay. So it looks like quite acrimonious from his perspective, but I think it takes two to tango, doesn't it? I think, and I know he's been planning for the City job for at least a couple of months, and there's been a lot of sort of learnings about communication and things like that with people from different sports and experts from different fields and things like that. So he's obviously kind of looking at what he needs to enhance, maybe with and learning how to speak to this generation of player and things like that. And he's obviously put the time in. So really, that 6 months that he's had without a job should stand him in really good stead, I think.
Yeah, he's had 6 months to be away, watch how the game has changed in a very quick, and refresh the mind. Again, like him as a manager, I think he's going to smash it, and I understand the whole aspect of it is similar football, and we can even actually, let's move on to Maresca real quick, just because we are here with all of it. Was the decision for him to replace, you know, from the pep tree, similar football style? Is it as simple as that? Like, is there anything that else that City saw from Maresca that intrigued them?
Yeah, there's different facets to it. He's close with Pep. And I've written in a piece that's going up on the website this week about how they'd had when Maresca left Parma, he'd had dinner with Guardiola, which I'm presuming involved quite a lot of red wine and sort of discussing about philosophies and things like that. And even though he'd been a coach of the EDS before he went to Parma, it was that meeting that solidified in Guardiola's mind where Maresca could go as a coach. And that's when he was then offered the assistant manager's job, and was number two during the treble season. And from people that were around it at the time were saying that the way he sort of spoke to the players was probably more akin to how Arteta was rather than some of the other number twos. So whatever you think of Arteta, like clearly he's a very good communicator and drags players along with him. So I think that's quite a positive thing. And then Cheeky's a big fan. And I think Cheeky's spoken to Viana about it as well in the last few months. So I think they're all aligned, and nobody was going to get that job after Guardiola without Pep not making the decision, but sort of going, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh man, I've completely forgot. Yeah, you were at the whole big co-op live event for
Yeah.
City Men and Women. Like, how was that experience?
Well, the Bunny Shaw moment was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That
That
was
was
that was amazing. Because when the question was being asked, the first one about like sort of, oh, there's been a lot of rumors and things like that, and I'm like, wow, this is
they're
a little
asking
bit
you.
of like needle, like wow. But then clearly it became clear when Natalie Pike was asking the second question that it was choreographed and it was all sort of part of a big thing or whatever. But it was a really, really nice moment, I thought. And then the whole night was perfect send off for Guardiola, Stones, and Bernardo. I think they were all sort of like cried out from Sunday, so there's been a lot of tears on Sunday. So
Mm-hmm.
Monday was just a massive celebration, and then the club and staff at the club and things like that. Like once the co-op had cleared out of fans and media and all that sort of stuff, they had their own party in there afterwards. So there was a few of us that had gone into the Northern Quarter in Manchester, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
for viewers that have not been to Manchester, it's the trendy bit with all the bars. So we'd gone for a couple of beers afterwards. I was driving, so I was on non-alcoholic. So we went back to pick my car up at the Etihad a couple of hours later. I don't know, it was about 12 o'clock, and it was still like the car park was still full. So clearly the party was still going beyond midnight. They must be having a good time.